Hey, I'm Raimundo Alvarez with agency Cornerstone, and we're bringing you an explainer video on the concepts of 3D animation motion graphics. Hold up. Great. It was playing by itself. You probably heard that. And explaining most of the concepts for people who are generally already maybe intermediate to advanced in the motion graphics to 3D animation modeling aspect, and maybe you can learn some of these concepts and apply it to your designs and your business. And even then, it's gonna be a whole lot of fun to watch. Basically, going step by step to these concepts, what effects, what design and all that stuff was being used in this regard. And I will actually stop talking now and go into explaining a little bit more on what we're going to be doing. So this is actually my channel when I was in Call of Duty. Basically, I was editing, doing visual design since I was like around maybe 18 years old. It was fun. So if you ask me how I got that software, don't ask me. But either way, this is basically one of the old channels that I had, 296 subscribers in YouTube. This is one of my, the Ion Universe that we created here in Stark County. Yeah, that's basically me, Raimundo Alvarez. Hey, that's funny. I'm there. Yeah, that's my Twitter from who knows when. I don't even use that. So yeah. And also we had another channel from YouTube that was already going to be monetized. It had 1,000 subscribers. And it was a very popular clan and back in the days where I would basically create almost all these videos by myself: the motion design, the graphic, the modeling, the voice, the image, and of course there's a lot of copyright in it, right? But it was very very fun, even though I worked on it. So, and people were willing to pay a lot of money to work and edit their videos for Call of Duty content and stuff like that. So what I'm gonna go over is one of the videos that I used a lot of animation, 3D animation, and explain how the process is and how it works. So if you want to check it out, sure, this is the IRL, but you don't need to. I'm not paying attention to this channel. It was 11 years ago. Go figure. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this, but I'm going to go step by step, explain each and everything. And I was already, okay, let's go all the way to the beginning. If you allow me, yeah, there we go. So we're going to slow it down a little bit. So we're going to go normal, and then we're going to go slow so that we can go over basically what is going on here. So this is basically our logo that we created, basically that I created and so here we go. All right, so now let's go back and play this back at 1.5. We're gonna lower the volume a little bit because it sounds so grouchy or rusty. So here we have a world. This was basically an element that would be online, and it was from, if I'm not mistaken, it was used in, I would use a lot of motion graphics within Adobe After Effects. And this world, if I'm not mistaken, is either in Cinema 4D that someone was basically offering, or it was within Adobe After Effects, and one of the plugins that they have is called Element 3D. Element 3D is the bomb. So it's it was what, $90 or something a month. I don't even know how it was, $20 a month now, or maybe you just paid once and that's it. But it allowed you to create so many animations within Adobe After Effects itself. But many of the complicated animations I created through Cinema 4D. So let's see this. So here we wanted to make it look like a universe at that time, like a galaxy basically, because it was Ion Universe, it was a clan. So as you see the nebula in the back, it's exploding as well. And then once that explosion goes out, you can see that it has this effect that it wraps around you like it's like a circle, and it just expands, like, and it just creates that ripple effect. And in the background, those were particles. So those particles were also in Adobe After Effects, and you can also use those, of course, definitely in Cinema 4D. So this, you basically just sketch out what you wanted it to look like, and then you replicated it into, you know, like, what is it, 8 different sides, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. So yeah. And then I always like shiny things, so I always like to make stuff shiny. This nebula right here was a template that I would add Magic Bullet looks. So Magic Bullet looks is like a filter that would basically be more of a professional grade filter for animation that would, you know, envelop and be more in depth and detailed within the animation itself. And this effect where it's going like this, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's called optical blur. I might be mistaken. I did use it a lot, but it was where basically you can create your sheet and it basically folds, and you can create it and make it like expand like a sheet and make it go like a ball and make it look like kind of like if you're in like a telescope, like a scope. It makes it look like that, which is really cool effect. I really liked it a lot. Particles, this was basically element 3D. And then of course I would also edit the wheel in Cinema 4D. And of course the rotating animation. So here we have the first beginning of the phase. One of the plugins we used here was called Twixtor, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's like a glitch. It's a glitch plugin. It's basically, I think, now called Glitch, or they change it over and over again. So that was basically what I would use to make that like little subtleness, like that little twitch effect. That, this. So yes, it is called Twitch. I'm mistaken. It's because there was different ones that I was thinking of one. It's kind of similar. I'll go over it in a bit. So to make it slow, to make it go slow like this, this is what I did right here is I added a square right there that went from here to here, and the square would go there. And this was done in Cinema 4D, by the way. So I would have to motion track this as well. What that means is that you basically have to track the scene of the video to basically make it go with the scene of the actual animation. So they have to go as one. And then once this was already tracked, what I would use to track it is it's a company I think from France called Bonjour. And Bonjour is like a blue icon. It's already discontinued. It doesn't exist anymore. I don't know where they went to, but you know, they would put a bunch of little dots everywhere, and then you click the dot that you want to track, and well, now we have AI and all that stuff that makes it so much easier. But it's not as in-depth as the other one, because the other one might just track 2D, and the other ones that are now a little bit more expensive now, track the whole video itself, and then you can add a mask right here that would then show that, you know, you can't show this right here. So you're basically masking the animation or the text itself, so that this text first, what I did was I did the motion graphic, the tracking and get the null objects, basically the little dots that were around everywhere that would track the whole scene. And then I would stick it to the place where I want to, was maybe like this tile right here. And then in Cinema 4D, then I would add like a background. So I would take a picture of this scene right here without this wall. I would just get the whole scene starting from here, and then I would use that as the background initial, right? So now you see that this is like a shiny text, as you can see, right? I love platinum, gold, silver especially. I love that. And you can see that it's reflecting the color of this here. So it's reflecting this here. One thing was I should have added a plane right there in the bottom with ambience. So basically the ambience to add a little bit more of a shadow to it, so it can reflect the reflection of this shadow, and then move the z-axis a little bit more forward over here, where then this light over here would look more like it's a shadow, and it's not like showing like a big blob of black here in the bottom, but it's showing it like having a little bit of blur that is actually going forward, like how you actually see a natural shadow. That would make this scene a lot better. And right here, all of this text, as it was being made into a video, and it was being equated with what the scene right here was recorded in. After it was already motion tracked, then you export it into Adobe After Effects, which Mansur, which is the owner of Cinema 4D, now incorporates with Adobe After Effects, which makes it so much easier to just export it directly into Adobe After Effects. And these are just amazing animations and in general, man. And so once you have it here, you would track it, and boom, you know, you added a little, like a little camera lens blur or just a regular blur, just make it cinematic, right? I like dramatic cinematic videos. To me, that was just amazing. I love it. And then there you go, you know, and now it goes back into focus because it just adds that dramatic, you know, important feel. And I think what I was using here was New Times Roman as a font. Awful, but it still looked cool. It made it cool with the video, you know, itself. And then as we play this, it's gonna go into another Twixtor effect, and it's of course the wiggle, and then bam, Twixtor. There we go. The glitch just makes a very good transition all the time. Very dramatic, goes with the sync of the song. Bam. And then, of course, you know, because I was going with the Greek gods, which we don't believe anymore, where, of course, now we believe in Yahuwah, we believe He's the creator, and that there's only one God, and He is the only God. And, of course, the Messiah, who is Yahusha, His son, right? And us who continue with Him. And from here, right, you can see that here it looks like it's reflecting the sun, right? Which is, to me, awesome. It was reflecting it. It looks like it's a part of the scene. It looks natural. Like it's not just, you know, like some 3D text that just pops out of nowhere. No, it looks like it's a part of the scene, and you would guess like, oh, it looks cool. And of course, since here these texts were already put together, I didn't want to go through separating each of them individually so that they can come together. So it was basically God of War separate. So God of War, and then this. Then you would be able to change God of War only without doing the individual things, because I was running low on time on this project, which lasted me maybe a week, and it was I didn't sleep sometimes. So, and we're playing it, and blur, and back to normal, and now it's gonna go into a Twixtor effect. I know myself. Bam! There we go. It starts with the first clip. We add the Twixtor. We're like, oh, he's reloading. What is he gonna do? Let's go and see what he's gonna do. So now it's like, okay, let's go. He puts it in, and bam! There we go. This effect I added in Cinema 4D. I needed to make this in Cinema 4D, and Adobe After Effects it didn't give the effect that I wanted, and Cinema 4D just did it perfectly. And you just added a plane, it broke apart. You added a bunch of I try to limit the subdivisions even more because I didn't want it to have too much movement or break my After Effects Adobe, which it has crashed many times, and I hated it. That's why I needed to start the project sometimes from scratch or where I left off, and I was like, that was an hour or 2 hours of work, but let's go again. So I just waited for my laptop to basically cool down a little bit. And from there, what happened is this was the broken pieces of the plane. Basically, I added the little texture, which is a great texture of concrete. I wanted it to look like concrete. And from there, right, I just made it into big chunks, small, and then I randomized the particles for the plane and how they were going to divide and make it look the most natural that we had. And of course, there we have the flash, which is like a regular, like a brightness flash that you could do. It's not that hard. And the blur, which is basically a regular blur that I would use. Bam! Another Twixtor effect that goes into the scene. And here I was I had to only use the motion animation here. I was covering it here, and partial here. So I was masking it a little bit so that it won't get in the way of it's like looking at it inside. And then once it's going in, then this is where I add the little see, I add the masking here to prevent that from basically looking like it's outside, but it's still outside. But then now it's like the rubble is now inside. See, so I should have made 2 layers for it, one outside and one inside, so to make a show of comparison. But it could have taken a little bit of time, but I wasn't worrying about the little details, so I just wanted to get it out. here we have a radial blur. So it's basically making that stream of a blur that comes out. And then we have the optical flare, which everybody who does animations knows about optical flares, especially if you're doing it in the old times. And bam, optical flare, there we go. And this radial blur, what it did is it made it look like it's beaming out of your eyes without making it a beam out of your eyes, which is actually very relatively easy. And everything out there is like, you look, it's streamed, but it just, the eyes just pop out real good, bam, and it's just, you make them brighter, and then shoo, into the next scene. And it's a great transition. It just adds that dramatic, tension, pause, and then, okay, we're back. That's what we do. And from here, we added an optical flare that was motion tracked here on this clip right here. So I did it in Bonjour, where I was tracking the scene and I was making it go on the gun. All of this, of course, is motion tracked even before it took. That's what took the most time, was the motion tracking. Honestly, other than the editing and all that, it was basically the rendering process, rendering the high quality. At that time it was 1080p. Now we have like 4K, 2K, and who knows, 20K, or no, it's called what is it called? Apple something, dude. That's crazy quality. I was like, dude, that's crazy quality. But I was looking at like a 30-second clip that you could get and render into that, and to like 30 seconds is around 80 megabytes. But when you export it in that quality, that Apple certain something, it was around 100 gigabytes. I was like, no way. I don't even want to see what that looks like. Not right now. And so, of course, back to the video, but it's really good information that I'm throwing it out there for anyone doing this. Motion tracking is awesome. The tension you're building with the video, I love it. This is my bread and butter, and that's why I feel very passionate about it. And here we go, it's stream tracked, and here we see the optical flare being hooked right there into that point. I literally just put the optical flare right there. It's like, oh, it's shiny, right? And then as I'm using a slow-mo, the slow-mo that I'm using here is called Twixtor. It's another plugin. It's not Twixtor. It's not Twixtor. Yeah, it's Twixtor. It's because Twixtor and the other one, the Twitch effect, they kind of sound the same. But it's Twixtor, right? Twixtor, yeah. Twixtor is a slow-mo. So the slow-mo is Twixtor, and the other one's the Twitch, and which is the glitch. And here you see that it is going to go inside, and then it's going to fade away, like if it's going in. And then it goes in, and bam, boom, there we go. So the slow-mo through, the problem with editing with Twixtor, right, was that if you had a very low frame rate, which in that before I was recording it with an Elgato, and it was live, so you couldn't just go back and just record it, and sometimes it would be gone. It would be really hard to get any kind of video. Okay, back to normal. And one of the things also was that when your frame rate was low, you get these little warpy effects in the video because your motion graphic or video graphic, whatever video editor wasn't able to keep up because of the frame rates, and you're slowing it down too much where it can't keep up with the frame rate, so it has to warp it to make it look like it's slow-mo, and now it's looking really warpy around here and there. And here we have, again, see the warpiness? This warpiness right here was caused by the slow. So that's why when you're doing slow-mo clips, get it at 60 frame rates per second. Of course, before I couldn't just do the 60 frame rates with the After Effects, even though I was using an Alienware at that time. It was a really expensive machine. It was a beast of a machine. And right now I'm using the MacBook Pro, which I love MacBook Pros. They're very simple, look very elegant, and they get the job done. And so my laptop would always break. So if I needed to make it shorter, make the rendering process faster, which is what took a long time. And then when I did an error, I had to go do it again and render it and then upload it. And the time from rendering to uploading, from tracking, and then to edit, it took so much time that it was so hard and difficult to maneuver across those phases. But then there was another plugin that some guy came up with. I think he was also in the same niche, and it actually reduced the warpiness. And that's actually in the other videos that I used it. I forgot what it was. It was a Twixtor plugin that basically removed the warpiness, and I was like, wow, dude, this is awesome. And you, of course, you could see some warpiness, but not as much as this, which was pretty good. It basically smoothed it out, which was awesome. I apologize, I don't remember what it was. And boom, see, there we go, the animation again. Here, I didn't need to motion track anything because I just needed to add the animation of the actual braking. So it was actually relatively easy until I got to the third person. Now, bam, now I had to track stuff. Or maybe not, and I just added the random stuff there, made it easy for myself, and just added, oh wait. No, I did need to track it because it has to go with the scene. So it's going with the scene. And again, I should have added some blur with the shadow so that it can be part of the scene, making it go a little bit this way. But since I wanted to get the project out as quickly as possible, I didn't want to basically spend more time doing that, which would take way more. It would take maybe double what I was gonna do. And yeah, it is being tracked now. So I did have to track that. And there we have that. And let me go over another one. So just to explain, I like this one a lot. This is the one that it's a return, but then I left again. Of course, the logo. Let me do the playback as normal. And this is basically the unedited clip, and it's gonna start being loud. Yeah. So there we go. Nice. Okay, so now let's play it back. 1.5. So now we're going with the unedited clip. I'm basically showing what the unedited clip was. And then we're going straight into what the edited clip looks like. With the music, of course. You're like, I always wanted to start it off with the tension, the suspense, like what's gonna happen. Because that's what I love to do, especially with everything I do. So here we see this, Eris Presents, right, of the little OCE, whatever. I forgot what it's called. It's probably another one. Where I'm using this text and it's going and warping with what animation I'm adding to it. So let me go back. It's nice. See how awesome that looks? The only way to make this was you had to see it looks so cool, right? I could have slow motion this a little bit more. Bam. So this is I think it's a plugin within After Effects, and this text was in Element 3D, and then I motion tracked it, and then I added the motion tracking with the the Eris Present text to the null object. Or I sent it over to Cinema 4D and then brought it back. And it was just a lot of going back and forth. This text here, I forgot what font this was, but this is what I love to do is I like that glow. I always like the presentation. I love the glow. I like how it looks. It just puts a little bit of touch to everything. And this is a pixelation. So it's a pixelation. And then it's wrapping around the 3D element. So it is not just like wrapping around, for example, the 2D, but it's like all by it's wrapping around the whole thing, which makes it a lot more realistic that way, because the 3D element was part of Adobe After Effects. And then I added also like a plugin where I forgot what it's called, but it added the glow. I think it's probably the glow. It's a glow, and I think I might have added a Fresnel, pixelated, or like a Fresnel to the texture. Let me see. You see how that looks? It looks so good. If you don't agree with me, go ahead and like that video, where it is. And if you do, go ahead and like that video because this looks awesome, admit it or not. And this here is a texture that I added to him, to this here, which I also added magic bullet looks to make these little subtle textures like pop out more, and adding the texture that more likely is to pop out with that magic bullet looks, which is what causes also the scene to look like grayish and purplish and looks really cinematic-y, dramatic. I love it. Basically is what makes it look so good. Have I ever seen anyone do this? No. No one else does this kind of work. And then it just goes back to being stone. And then fades into the background. And then there we have it. Texture, man, was the bomb. I love this texture. It was like a magma-y kind of like rocky texture, granite-like. Love it. Especially in cinematic things like this. I added this I added with the magic bullet looks. I added this filter, which basically added up here. As you can see, it cuts it up right here. So I added like a shine. So everything on the top would shine, and anything on the bottom was kind of normal, but it was still hold to the magic bullet look style. But on the top, it would use the glow, so everything on the top would glow like this, the sky, and then the optical flare going through. And then that's when, you know, see how it looks? It just looks like it's real sunlight. And to me, that just looks so cool. Like if it's part of the scene. You see what I mean here? Like it's not like this is part of the actual video. You add this as like the shimmer. I think that's what it's called, the shimmer. And you add it here on the background with optical flare, and then you're gonna see that I raise the shimmer in a bit. And there we go with the glitch. That's the glitch effect with the, I was gonna say Twixter. What is it called? Let's just call it the glitch effect with another glitch effect. So it was two glitch effects. Twixter, no, I forgot. Twixter's the one that's slow-mo. So right here I'm adding the slow-mo. And then as it's going here, like here I'm waiting for the suspense so that then I could add the shimmer, and you know the optical the lights are going in, it's shimmering basically. I would put the shimmer right here. You probably wouldn't be able to see it, but anything that's here is just gonna show like it's rays of light, which is still native, I think, to Cinema 4D. I don't think it's a paid one, so it is actually relatively easy to do. And then of course over here I had to basically mask it out of here. You have to mask these individually and track it. So see how it's going through the text. You have to slow it down a lot, and then finally it's like presentation wise. There we go. See the shimmer gone. And see, that wasn't part of the actual video. I thought it was gonna actually shine more and then leave, but I should have done that. Now it's going to the regular dead look, like it's like if there's no hope anymore, and now it's like, oh, but he's back. You see, and then now it's going right into it. I actually messed up right here. I should have removed that. And then here I added it into a filter as well through Magic Bullet Looks and made this slow-mo. Added some overlays, added some color stabilization with that to make it look rainbow. So it was an effect within Adobe After Effects as well that makes the rainbow colors, and you can make it look so cool. And so here the same thing, bam, you know, like there we go. So I used here like a dark masking, a dark ball here. And then here I added this, it was also part of the overlay. So it would basically be like a, I made it, duplicated it, overlaid it, and then I made it transparent to some extent, and then made it have this like sort of like warpy effect on it, which just looks so cool. And then of course you add the warpiness here, and there we go with the glitch, bam, and the little effect of, I forgot what it's, Twitch. That's what it's called, sorry. It's called Twitch. So it's the Twitch, and then the other one's Twixter. See how it's confusing? I forget them. I don't know, just name it something else like Glitch. And of course here it's the masking, and basically showing that, you know, this is the target, but even though it's dark, it had to kind of resemble the ambience of what it's going for dramatically. And it's a very fun project. It was very fun. That's why I kept doing it until we got hacked. Not even hacked. It was just given away. Oh, these are some of the people. And this is actually this is the one that they sold to the manager, and it actually had 1,130 subscribers. Now it's some Portuguese squad, and I don't even know what that means. The guy kept selling it to people, and no one really liked it, so they couldn't really continue. And I still have it here, man. It's crazy. And other than that, if this was fun, and if you like these explainer videos, and if you receive value from it, just me explaining to you what is going on. Of course, if you follow that Twitter account with I'm not gonna respond because I don't even know the login for that. So don't add that, or don't subscribe to this channel because I'm not keeping track of anything here. But other than that, if you want to learn anything, motion graphic design, illustrations, 3D animations, going over the concept of it, you know, what goes through my mind when this happens, it's very fun. If you're a creative person, if you love creativity and you want to use that for business purposes, you know, comment, see more of our stuff. We have a ton of videos out there that you might find helpful. And if you want to work with us, send us a message. We have messages here on I was going to say Twixter, on TikTok, I think X2, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Probably not Instagram because it's too big of a file. But if you liked it, subscribe. If you didn't like it, subscribe and like as well. So I appreciate you guys' times, and may this be helpful for you who is learning and already has knowledge and who wants to apply more stuff. And if there's something I didn't cover, put it down in the comment section below. I'll be sure to get back to you and explain what it was. And see you on the next video. Shalom. Make sure to give us some ideas in the comment section down below, and we'll be able to help you out with that as well.